Gilbert, what are you doing all day in a cave? Oh, I know. You're waiting for the next broadcast of Lord Blood-Rah's nerve-wracking theater.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Welcome to Lord Blood-Rah's nerve-wracking theater.
Oh, my lords and ladies, geeks, geekerellas, geekulas, and geekeritas, I am Lord Blood-Rah, and this is Lord Blood-Rah's nerve-wracking theater. And you know, something's been puzzling me. If all of these aliens who come to Earth are supposed to be so technologically advanced, why do they keep crashing all the time? I mean, Roswell, Kecksburg, Santa Monica, California. You know, either their technology isn't all it's cracked up to be, or their pilot training program is useless. Well, anyway, it's the Santa Monica incident we're going to have a look at tonight, because it happened in this movie. Tonight, from 1953, it's the alien on the run tale, Phantom from Space. And if parts of this movie look kind of familiar to you nerve-wracking theater fans, it's because a lot of the stock footage used in this movie was also used in Killers from Space. You know, if it wasn't for stock footage, some of these movies would be about 10 minutes long. Well, my lords and ladies, without further ado, I give to you Phantom from Space.
Washington, D.C. And in the files of the Central Bureau, there is a story so strange in its implications that it defies ordinary classification. It is the story of a handful of people who, in the course of one desperate night, held back a wave of panic and pandemonium. It began after sundown, time 7:15, as Flight A Coast Patrol from Travis Field was returning to base, when the nightly Air Force transport pointed north toward Japan via the Great Circle route. While at sea, the Navy and Coast Guard maintained their usual round-the-clock vigil. And from the equator to the Arctic, the radar network swept the skies with eyes that never sleep. Time, 7:19. An unidentified object was picked up 200 miles southwest of Point Barrow, Alaska. 7:27. Unidentified object confirmed at Fairbanks, Alaska. Heading south-southeast, 170 degrees. Height, 75,000 feet. Estimated speed, 5,000 miles per hour. White warning. 7:39. Unidentified object 200 miles due west of Vancouver, British Columbia. Course 170 degrees. Height, 60,000 feet. Estimated speed, down to 3,600 miles per hour. Yellow warning. 7:54. First interceptor flight airborne. Point of interception, 80 miles due west of San Francisco, California. 7:55. Unidentified object past point of interception. Red warning. 8:11. Morro Bay, California. Height, 50,000 feet. Estimated speed, 2,000 miles per hour. 8:15. Santa Monica, California. Height, 10,000 feet. Speed, 1,200 miles per hour. 8:18. All traces of unidentified object gone. Red warning lifted. By 8:25 at the Los Angeles branch of the Communications Commission, reports of strong interference with radio and television reception began to pour in from the beach area. The monitors went to work immediately. Mobile units were ordered to converge on the vicinity of the disturbance. Pinpoint direction finding devices began to trace the trouble to its source.
This is Mobile 1, Hazen speaking. We're at Ocean and Beacon Way, interference strength 2, bearing 27 degrees. Over.
Mobile 1 from center. Roger. Over.
Mobile Center from Mobile 7, over.
Go ahead, Mobile 7.
This is Mobile 7. We're at Pacific Center and Beach 4. Interference strength 3, bearing 39 degrees, over.
This is Mobile Center. Roger. Stand by. Mobile 1 and Mobile 7. From Mobile Center, point of interception estimated 3 miles north of surf. Repeat, 3 miles north of surf. Acknowledge.
This is Mobile 7, roger.
Mobile 1, roger.
Mobile 7, roger, we're going out.
Okay, Charlie, let's get moving. Yes, what is it?
Take me to a phone quick. I need an ambulance.
What's the matter?
My husband and Pete out there in the picnic grounds just above the beach. They've been hurt.
Well, this is the communications car. I'll phone it in from here. I'm Mobile 1 to Central, over. Did you make that out, Charlie?
Not a word.
I'm Mobile 1 to Central. I can't reach you. Repeat. They must be getting us all right. I'm Mobile 1 to Central. Have an ambulance sent to beach at surf. Emergency. 2 men hurt. Acknowledge. Roger and out. I'm sure they'll be here soon now. Tell us what happened.
Oh, this man, he just kept coming at us. It was awful.
Who?
I don't know. He was wearing a suit like a diver. Hurry, please. They're hurt.
Charlie, you better wait here. I'll go down and take a look.
The young woman's hysteria became obvious as they reached the picnic grounds at the beach. There was no sign of the mysterious intruder, and little could be done for her husband and their friend until the ambulance arrived.
Hi, fellas. How are you doing?
We're just taking another reading now. What happened down there?
The police took the girl and one of the guys to the station.
What about the other one?
Well, he's on the way to the morgue. That was her husband.
You're right on the button, Charlie, 44.7.
Report back to Central if you find anything else. Charlie, grab that portable and check the beach, will you?
Got it right here.
I'll pick you up right here in about an hour.
Where are you going?
Police asked me to drop by the station and sign a report. I'll see you later.
If you don't, you know where to look for the body.
Like I said, we were just starting to eat when we heard something tracking through the sand toward us. I looked up and couldn't see anything. Then Betty screamed.
At what? I thought you couldn't see anything.
At first we couldn't. Then this guy started toward us.
What kind of a guy?
How should I know? He was wearing some kind of a helmet over his head. He could have been a deep-sea diver or anything.
All right. After you saw this diver, what happened?
Well, we jumped up. Ed, that was Betty's husband, yelled at him to stop, but he just kept coming. I never saw anything like it. He didn't say anything. He just kept moving in.
And then you say he attacked you.
Oh, we didn't give him a chance. Ed grabbed a piece of wood and took a swing at him. That didn't stop him. He caught the end. That's all I remember.
Just because a man's taking a walk is no reason to slug him. Besides, you don't look like a guy who frightens so easy.
How would you feel if somebody with a crazy helmet with pipes sticking out of it came at you in the dark?
Estimated speed, 5,000 miles per hour. White warning. Estimated speed, down to 3,600 miles per hour. Yellow warning. Unidentified object past point of interception. Red warning.
How would you feel if somebody with a crazy helmet with pipes sticking out of it came at you in the dark?
Well, I think I'd declare a brown warning. Ew.
This one has plenty of fight in him.
Never before has man been transformed into such hideous proportions. Never have teenage girls been subjected to the terrifying ordeal in the fantastic room of torture. Prisoners on this island of the mad must fight desperately to preserve a sane and conscious mind. This strange and powerful story has been acclaimed as the most terrifying of all time, as it bursts forth the unequaled horror of an island of monsters created by a human beast.
Now back to Phantom from Space, as our alien eyewitness is about to say something crazy.
I know this sounds crazy, but there wasn't any head in that helmet.
No head. No head at all.
It's the truth.
I think you need some coffee.
I don't want anything.
It's all the same to you, Lieutenant. I've got to pick up one of my men at the beach.
Okay, thanks for coming down, Hazen. Hope I didn't put you out.
No trouble. So long. You too.
All right, let's start at the beginning. How well did you know the dead man? And his wife?
Betty and I went to school together. I knew Ed a year.
How long were they married?
About a year.
Wasn't her husband a little older than she?
I don't know.
But you said you and Mrs. Evans went to school together. Then you never discussed anything personal with her?
She did mention he was older, yes.
How much?
15, 20 years. What difference does that make?
That wasn't too hard now, was it? Where do you live?
629 and a half East Palm Court. Why?
That's where the Evans live, isn't it?
Yeah, I board with them.
You do, huh? That Mrs. Evans is a good-looking woman.
What are you trying to say?
Lieutenant Bowers. Where? Yeah, I got it. I'll leave right away. Keep it on the murder. Near the beach. Keep an eye on this guy until I get back. What do? You'll stay right where you are. At least until Mrs. Evans feels well enough to talk.
What do you want from her?
Oh, I just want to see if your story checks with hers. After all, you went to school together, remember? say there were no witnesses, huh?
None yet.
Anything missing?
I don't think so. The cash register wasn't touched.
Get a breakdown of the inventory as soon as you can. What about fingerprints?
The boys are working on them now.
Sorry I'm late.
What kept you so long?
The lieutenant asked me to hang around a while.
Well, what's the score?
It looks like one of those things. Pretty girl, older husband, young boarder. Kid claims some guy without a head knocked the old man off.
You don't say. Anything else?
Yeah, he had a diver's outfit with horns.
No. He's going to have to do better than that.
How are we doing?
I took a reading about 10 minutes ago. The radiation is going out with the tide. What about the radio phone?
It's working fine again. I just got a call from Central. They said Mobile 7 picked up some new trouble northeast of here.
Here we go again.
Hop in.
Who reported this murder?
There he is there. He lives next door. His name's George Nelson.
Hey, Mr. Nelson.
Yes, sir.
Come here, will you? I'm Lieutenant Bowers, homicide. You found this body?
That's right. He must have just locked up for the night when this happened.
How do you know that?
Well, he usually does around this time.
What are you doing here?
I was sitting home watching the fights on TV, and all of a sudden the thing started acting up.
What has that got to do with it?
Well, you don't know the set. You know, it wouldn't work at all when I came home to supper. Then all of a sudden it cleared up fine. So I thought, well, I'll get set to look at the fights again, and all of a sudden out it goes again. So I thought maybe the battery station down here was overcharged in the circuit, and so I came down to take a look, that's all.
Hey, don't you ever quit work? What's up this time?
Another murder? What are you doing here, Hazen?
Same as before. Still trying to track down that signal interference.
Hey, does that stuff work on TV, too?
Well, it has been for hours.
What'd I tell you?
What's the matter?
Seems to set one on the blink.
Well, at least we know we're on the right track. How'd you make out with that boarder?
He's still sticking to his story. The guy had no head.
Well, I'll be seeing it. So long.
Right.
Watch out.
And so the communications team resumed its mission to track the mysterious interference to its source. Via accurate readings taken at regular intervals by stationary and mobile units, it was determined that the disturbance was moving in a northeasterly direction. By 10:34, Mobile Center had pinpointed the disturbance at the edge of the Huntington oil fields. Units 1 and 7 were instructed to close in.
Hey, Charlie, do you see what I see?
Yeah, the oil field.
Let's hope our trouble's burning up.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Look, Sarge. 2 murders and an explosion in one precinct is big news. Now, come on, you can't pin it all on the young boarder. Or can you?
Very funny. Yeah?
I'm Hazen of the Communications Commission.
Oh, the lieutenant's waiting for you.
Thank you.
Where's the wheel?
You heard the man, Communications Commission.
Tom, does this kind of interference happen very often?
Never anything like this. It's on the move all the time.
Need some help with a transmitter in the car.
It's not a transmitter. We don't get a definite disturbance, just interference.
Then you have no idea of what it is, huh?
Not yet. How are you making up?
Not so good. You were here when I questioned that boy about the murder at the beach.
Did you get anything more out of it?
Yeah. Come on with me. You might want to see this. Ah, I see you're just about done. Thanks, you can go now. Are you sure this is what the man looks like?
What do you say, Betty?
Well, just about, only I think the tubes were a little lower down.
And you still insist there was no head inside the helmet?
I'm positive there wasn't.
What about you?
Well, it was dark. I couldn't swear to it.
Thanks, that'll be all.
You mean we can go now?
Yeah, for the time being. Just stick close to home. I may want to see you again tomorrow.
We'll be there. Come on, Betty.
Kind of changed your mind about those two, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess I have. Hey, look, bring in the old man, will you?
Don't tell me you believe this story about this whatever it is.
I know it sounds as phony as it ever did. But, sit down, will you please? You're the watchman at the Huntington oil fields?
Oh, yes, sir. I've been with the company for over 22 years, sir.
Yeah. Will you tell Mr. Hazen here exactly what happened?
Well, sir, like I said before, I was just closing the gate for the night when I saw this fella coming up. I was never so scared in my life.
Yes, go on.
Well, it wasn't the man so much as the suit he was wearing. Well, he wouldn't stop when I hollered at him. He just pushed his way right in through the gate and walked right up to the tank.
Now, you carry a gun? Did you try to stop him?
Oh, well, he was much too close to the tank. I was afraid to shoot. So I thought I might call for help. And just as I got to the shack, the tank blew up. Oh, you should see the sight.
Yeah, sir, can you give us a description of this man? How would you say he was dressed?
Well, sir, like I said before, he wore a sort of flyer's, not outfit, with a helmet attached to it.
How tall was he?
Oh, he was a giant of a man. And he had tubes sticking out of that thing, that helmet he wore.
Can you tell us what his face looked like?
Well, sir, though you got pretty close to me, I could swear the man had no face.
Now, if you saw this man again, would you recognize him? I mean by his outfit.
Oh, I'll never forget that sight if I live to be 100, sir.
Would you say this is the man?
Wait, sure, that's him.
Thank you very much. You may go now.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Well, Hazen, what do you say now?
Beats me. The descriptions check all right. This could be some kind of flying suit. High-altitude equipment.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Well, how do you explain that stuff about the missing head?
No, we can discount that. These people were frightened. It was night. Nobody really took a close look at it.
I guess you're right. But whoever he is, that outfit doesn't look like one of ours.
Of course, he could have been dropped by parachute.
You mean sabotage?
I think we better wire a report to Washington and see what they say.
All right, you can use our teletype. I'll tip off the LA police to be on the lookout for something unusual.
Hey, wait a minute. What about the press?
Oh, I don't think they know too much now. We better keep it that way for a while at least, till we find out whether our friend is still around here.
Well, if he is, I think we can find him for you. My hunch is that he's carrying something around that's causing all this disturbance, whether he knows it or not.
Now, how hard can it be to find a guy dressed like this running around L.A., especially in 1953? I mean, today, sure, he'd be a little harder to spot, especially if there was a convention in town, but back then, nah. He's got kind of a Doctor Who villain thing going on, doesn't he? Kind of 1960s British sci-fi casual.
The artist, the poet, the figure model who loves to show it.
You suppose he could be physically attracted to her?
No, man, he ain't the type. You don't get enough vitamin E. All these are beat. All these you'll meet in a bucket of blood.
Let us make the scene.
Crazy. Come, enjoy yourself. Where the hilarious enjoy the horrifying. In a bucket of blood. No, you're gonna shoot me! Don't shoot! Come to the land of living dreams, where realists dream of the unreal.
Walter, you've done something to me. Something deep down inside of my prana. Oh, Walter, I want to be with you. You're creative.
Beatniks at their bawdiest. The creative urge at its most primitive. I'm deeply moved, and I shall compose a poem. Love is art. Art is love. It's the weirdest and the wildest.
I don't want to make statues anymore. I want to get married. To you.
That it could happen in America. That it could happen now. That it could ever happen to me. Another murder tonight. at Watergate. My apartment.
You must issue the order that he be taken alive.
The moon hasn't risen yet. Put a guard on me.
Yeah. Kill that page one lead. Hey, let the boarder and the girl go. How do I know? Maybe the lieutenant thinks that the guy in a flying suit knocked off the husband. Nah. No, not a chance. Not a chance of an exclusive on that picture. They're making a blanket release in the morning. Oh, there's a guy from the Communications Commission in there now.
Sorry to interrupt you, Lieutenant. Yeah, what is it, Jim? There's a teletype cam for you.
Oh, thanks, Jim. We're waiting for it. That was fast.
Well, here's our answer. Looks like they never sleep in Washington. Says to contact a Major Andrews, care of Dr. Wyatt, director of the Griffith Institute.
Hey, it's kind of late. Maybe I'll give him a call.
While you're at it, I'll go out the car and check in with Central.
Okay.
Well, that's the story up till now. We got in touch with Washington. They told us to contact you here.
Very interesting. What do you think, Doctor?
When I see something like this, I understand why you gentlemen might have thought sabotage was involved.
Lieutenant, are you sure there were no traces of this saboteur, this X-man, found after the explosion in the oil field?
Fire department went over every inch of the area. Didn't come up with a thing.
Well, then there's a strong possibility that he might have perished in the explosion itself.
I doubt that. We're pretty well convinced this man is carrying something that's responsible for all the signal interference. According to the last report I got, there was a definite disturbance about 3 miles east of the oil fields, sometime after the explosion.
Well, then if he's alive, you should be able to keep an accurate check of his whereabouts.
Not that easy. As a matter of fact, we lost contact about 3/4 of an hour ago.
Maybe he realized you were trailing him and got rid of whatever he had that was causing the disturbance.
In that case, there's nothing much my department can do to help you.
I guess it's up to us. Unless you have some suggestions.
Well, let me think out loud for a minute. It might just be that what we've been talking about so far, and this phantom, as we'll call him, ties in with what the doctor and I have been discussing.
That is very possible.
I don't know whether you know it or not, but somewhere around 7:30 this evening, our radar networks picked up an unidentified object off Point Barrow, Alaska. They traced it clear down to Santa Monica before they lost it.
Santa Monica? That's where we first picked up our radio interference.
Yeah, right at the scene of the murder.
Well, then, if all these things tally up, we've got some idea of how our man got here.
You mean that he came in some plane? In that case, somebody would have seen it land and take off again. Or did it crash?
No. No, we don't think it was a plane. No rocket or jet that has been built so far can attain the speeds of 5,000 miles an hour. particularly for such a great distance.
And maybe we're on the wrong track altogether. Couldn't your unidentified object have been a meteor? They travel at a terrific speed.
Yes, fast enough for most of them to burn themselves out the moment they hit the Earth's atmosphere. And did it occur to you that meteors are not very likely to travel horizontally, all the way from the North Pole to California?
Well, if it wasn't a meteor, or a flying missile of some type, how do you figure this phantom ties in?
We're not sure that he does.
I don't care what you say, but it doesn't make sense to me. Anybody trained in sabotage would stay undercover. This guy's walking around in a monkey suit, killing people.
Excuse me, Dr. Wyatt. Is there Lieutenant Bowers in here?
Oh, yes. What is it, miss?
There's a Mr. Wakeman from the Chronicle here to see you.
Wakeman here? Now, what does he want?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Before you go, Lieutenant, I don't believe you have met my assistant, Barbara Randall.
Well, hello.
Hello.
It's Mrs. Randall, Lieutenant.
I'll be right back.
Barbara, you know the Major?
Of course.
And this is Mr.
The Communications Commission.
How do you do?
Well, I see you are working a little later tonight than usual.
Yes, my husband's teaching a late class, and he won't be able to pick me up for a while. Besides, I had some work to do in the lab.
Well, at least you'll have lots of company.
All right. So I shouldn't have come up here. But I gotta get your angle on this Beach murder. And your whole department is shut up.
Look, Wakeman, will you stop bothering me? There's nothing to say. If you got an exclusive story from that Evans Damon or Board, then you know as much as I do.
Yeah, but that still doesn't explain anything about the guy without a head. Come on. Who is it?
Your guess is as good as mine.
You mean you let those two kids go without knowing that? I don't buy it.
Well, I did.
Well, then you must have an awful good reason. I bet you're trying to tie it in with that other murder. All right, Lieutenant. Don't tell me. I'll get my story somehow. Oh, if you want to know how things turn out, read the Chronicle in the morning.
That's right. Now get in touch with Charlie in Mobile 1 and have him call for me here. Okay, honey.
Won't you come up with anything?
No, we're just briefing Barbara here.
It's just amazing the way you've been able to put these things together.
Don't kid yourself, Mrs. Randall. It seems the press knows as much about it as we do.
Well, let's hope they don't come to the same conclusions. A few lurid headlines, and every fool in the country will be seeing phantoms in spacesuits and men from Mars all over the place.
Yes, I can imagine. And mass hysteria is difficult to check once it gets started.
That's why we've got to move fast.
Well, from the looks of things, I guess it's up to me. I'll be in touch with you as soon as I hear anything. See you. By
12:30 a.m., the dragnet was in operation. Mobile units patrolled the streets and countryside. They covered an area 35 miles square. Special and sensitive equipment was prepared for action. Everyone on the job was ready to move on the first signal from the Communications Commission.
Monitor Corona to Mobile Center, strength 4, brickyard at 160th, moving toward oil fields. Contact your units. Over and out.
Units 1 and 7 from Mobile Center. Units 1 and 7 from Mobile Center. Strength 4, interference at 160th in the oil field. Moving due east. Close in. Repeating, strength 4, interference at 160th in the oil field. Close in.
Just got here, trying to set this up. What gives, Hazen?
It's in this area, all right.
How about the Geiger counter?
Thank you, Doctor.
Why don't walk over those oil fields?
Well, it doesn't register as far as the oil fields.
I think we'll do better if we split up, man.
Right, Lieutenant. You two go that way. Lieutenant, out here. Joe, you follow him. Come on, Doctor. And you? Oh, forget it.
Look at this. Yeah, points this way. Hey, Joe.
going?
Going strong. That's it, Doctor. It's leading this way. Come on.
From ancient Genesis to the modern screen, is the name written in blood. Ega!
If I could just call you on the phone. The code of the ghost, that's the sign of the toad. Nobody lives on the Brownsville Road.
Thrill to the newest recording star, Archibald Jr.
Oh, they're screaming this way.
See ravishing Marilyn Manning in a thrilling, chilling story. The last of the prehistoric giants sees his first girl.
Noah. And
Curious newsmen search deep in giant country for the last of the ancient cavemen. See a tough giant tamed by the soft hands of his captive woman. See him sacrifice his ageless beard for her love. Then lose her to a boy in a dune buggy, escaping a burning desert. Ega's primitive passion was love or kill. Hear Ega talk, the ancient language of love, used at the beginning of time. See Ega!
you've lost the urge to experiment.
Oh, every time you touch me, I go out of my mind. Let me die. Let me die.
Her brain kept alive by experimental science, by a man whose abnormal passions inspired him to try the impossible.
I brought her back. She'll live and I'll get her another body.
So what of her soul? How can you make of her an experiment of horror?
His mad ambitions and desires threaten every woman possessing an attractive body. Girls whose measurements make them beauty contest participants. Professional figure models such as this. All are prey to his distorted desires.
What's locked behind that door?
Horror. No normal mind can imagine. Something even more terrible than you.
Horror has its ultimate, and I'm that.
Behind that door is the sum total of Dr. Courtney's mistakes.
He intends to kill somebody. To rob them of their body. We've got to stop him.
Now back to Phantom from Space, where our government boys are in hot pursuit of our mysterious visitor. And the way those Geiger counters are chattering, I do mean hot.
This way. Come on.
Checks with me.
Sure does. He's here. We saw him.
There he goes.
Come on!
Fred. Gotta be around here somewhere.
Yeah, we gotta get on the roof.
Vince, go get a ladder.
Look out!
Let's cut him off!
Come on.
Around here.
Anybody see him?
There he is.
Got him now.
We'll give you 10 seconds to come out of there, starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We're going in. Up to you guys cover the door. Come on.
Hi, there's nobody in here.
Possible. We saw him come in.
Maybe he went out of the window.
We won't get very far.
Don't touch anything till we check for fingerprints. Oh, doctor, over here. He left his suit and his helmet.
Hey, let's spread that thing out so I can get a good shot of it.
Keep away, you fool.
What's the matter?
For your information, that's a Geiger counter, and it says hands off.
I think you'd better wait outside.
I just have a job to do.
So do we. And I'm afraid ours will have to come first.
And there's no radiation from the helmet.
But look at this.
So that's what's been causing all the trouble. Charlie, you know where we can pick up a lead-lined box in a hurry?
Well, Mobile 7 should have one. They're right outside. I'll take a look.
Hurry it up, will you?
Unbelievable. Now, we all thought that this Phantom might be carrying some device which was causing all the signal interference. But to learn that it's due to the very clothes on his body.
That's not the only thing that bothers me. Did any of you get a good look at his face?
Not me. He's too far away.
Well, I did. Unless I'm mistaken, that helmet was empty.
Hey, where am I going to put this stuff?
Oh, put it in Dr. Wyatt's station.
Yeah, we take it back to the Institute.
Right.
Quite honestly?
No, that's all right. You can handle that.
Any luck?
Not a sign of him. The boys are still searching the grounds.
For what? Nobody knows what he looks like without that outfit.
Don't bet on that, Major. Reporter got a flash picture of him, and I just happened to borrow that film. It's on its way to headquarters right now to be developed.
Good. Send us a print as soon as you can.
Sure.
Lieutenant, are you sure you don't want to come with us? We want to make a few tests at the lab.
I'd like to, Doctor. But you know the situation. I gotta get that guy. Let me know how you make out, will you?
Yeah, we'll do that, sure.
We were just on our way home when we saw you drive in.
Good evening, Barbara. Hello, Bill. I see we got here just in time.
Anything new?
Lots of excitement, but that's all. Major, you know Barbara's husband?
Oh, of course. How are you?
How are you?
Hey, it's a nice-looking dog you've got there. What's his name?
His name? Venus. Say, Bill, I hate to ask this, but something important has come up, and I wonder, can we borrow Barbara for about an hour or so? I suppose so.
Of course. Darling, why don't you go and do the shopping? Here's the list. The market's open all evening.
I may as well. See you later, darling.
I'll take the dog and tie her up.
Thank you, Bill. Good night. Good night. I'll give you a hand with it.
Oh, thanks, Doc. Easy now. Look up your fingers. All right. Look out now. Don't drop it.
Vince, come back here. Vince, come back here.
You were right, Doctor. There are no fingerprints anywhere.
What's all this?
Hey, don't touch anything.
You better put some gloves on. Our friend, Mr. X, left this suit at the oil refinery.
You mean you were that close to him and you didn't catch him?
I'm afraid so. That's up to the police now. Hand me those shears. I want to cut up this material to work with it. You better have those sharpened.
But I just bought them.
All right.
Here, try this knife.
That still won't cut.
Let me try. This stuff is tougher than nylon. Why don't I try it over a Bunsen burner? It doesn't burn either. Let's take a look at it under the microscope.
Look, it's magnetic.
Magnetic?
Here,
radioactive. And apparently indestructible.
Thank you.
What's the matter?
You tell me. Take a look at that weed.
What weed? There is none. This material is one solid mass.
Mass, yes. Why, you're right. It must be some sort of plastic.
No. I'd say it's a metallic substance of some kind.
Well, I've seen a lot of interesting alloys, but never anything like this. Let's try an acid test.
All right.
Go ahead. Careful now. We'll only take a drop or two. It repels acid like a raincoat repels water.
Why, there's no reaction.
No reaction. Why not try something like this?
Now, this is a powerful outboard motor that our engineers have especially set up in our studio in order to make possible this live demonstration. We've attached my Timex directly to the propeller blade, as you see here. Now we'll submerge it in the tank. And all right, let's go. Now, just imagine. The Timex watch on that propeller, let's lift her out, has been slashed through the water on that blade to the tune of 4,500 revolutions per minute. What a test for a waterproof, shock-resistant watch. It was such a test that it threw the watch off in the tank, and I'm very sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, because we had it all arranged so you would get a picture of that sweep hand still working, as it did perfectly during numerous rehearsals here tonight, I assure you. I know because I have stood in water at least 6 times this evening, and the watch has functioned perfectly each time.
Try the outboard motor test. I don't know what we'd learn from it, but couldn't hurt. It's kind of fun to watch. See what I did there? Watch? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, banga banga.
Since when do you talk a native language?
I just started today.
Well, what do you say?
What do you say? I don't even know what I said.
Do I, baby? Of course I do. Duke Mitchell and Sammy Petrillo turn an island paradise into the zaniest madhouse in the 7 seas. Charlita puts a gleam in Duke Mitchell's eyes.
Your smile only added life to your masquerade.
Muriel Landers puts the whammy on Sammy.
Sammy! Run for your life! Go on, get out of here. Run for your life.
Ramona, the romantic chimp, takes off on a romantic chase of her own.
Strange. But interesting.
Really think so? What a charming compliment.
Bela Lugosi finds the perfect subject to turn a gorilla into a goof, and versa versa.
Look, what are you trying to tell me? I don't understand a word. What am I, dumb or something? Don't answer that. Now look, Duke Mitchell, I'm running this game, you understand? And don't talk back. Yeah, now put it on, because we got to get out that door.
Dance, baby, dance, come and dance with me. Hear the beat of the pounding sea. Ride, baby, ride, come and ride with me. Let your feet go easy.
What do you make of this?
Where does the other end go?
It dumps into the ocean.
It looks exactly like the South American Fantigua fish. I hope you can take one alive, Sheriff.
I still believe that a human clawed that girl to death.
The Beach Girls and the Monster, starring John Hall, Sue Casey, and the glamorous Watusi dancing girls from Hollywood's famed Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub. Music by Frank Sinatra Jr.
You got a monster in the surf.
Chicks, do you have a problem? You won't have after you meet the monster on the beach. If you see this ghoul, play it cool. Beauties in bikinis, laughing, singing, surfing, sinning. Beach party lovers making hey-hey in the moonlight while the monster waits and watches. Yeah. This one will kill you.
Now back to Phantom from Space, where our doctor friend is just now realizing what we, the audience, have known for a while now.
Well, Major, this looks as though we were going to be here for a long time. Now we have it. The helmet is not radioactive. The suit is. There is no doubt. This spacesuit is conditioned to function above 63,000 feet, where human blood would boil, resulting in the body expanding to twice its size. And death, of course.
I know. And it must withstand pressure and counterpressure. Also, it must be so supercharged it can function in thin atmosphere.
Now, let's see what it is that is left in this breathing apparatus.
Well, how are you doing?
The gas from the helmet tank breaks down to 11% methane.
Ordinary marsh gas? What's the rest of the formula?
No, that's where I'm stuck. I can't figure it out. It just doesn't respond to any of the usual tests.
Well, how could anyone exist on that combination of gases?
You and I couldn't. But apparently someone can.
Doctor, are you trying to say that our X-Man doesn't breathe oxygen and hasn't the metabolism of a normal human?
I really don't know. From what we've seen, he has some physical characteristics which make him appear human. But added to them is this fabulous radioactivity that none of us could stand. I am puzzled.
I think the answer lies right here in this helmet. Obviously, he needs it to survive. Otherwise, he wouldn't have risked wearing it where he was sure to be recognized. As it is, he only took it off when he was cornered.
Well, if what you say is true, how can he exist without it now?
Let me put it this way. It's like a patient in an iron lung. Sometimes one can be removed for hours at a time without any ill effects.
Exactly. And I think the same principle applies here. And that means sooner or later, he has to get his breathing apparatus back or die.
I don't understand.
Well, I've got an idea. If we were to return this whole outfit to where he left it, he might be tempted to come back.
Dr. Wyatt speaking? Yes, he's here.
No, thank you.
Hello, Major. Still at it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
No, we haven't got a thing, no. The picture?
Yeah, hold on. He says the picture the reporter took of our man didn't come out.
I was afraid of something like that. The radioactivity must have burned the emulsion.
Hello. No, we didn't find any fingerprints at all in his clothes. Did you find any? Oh, too bad.
Hello? Will you wait there, please?
We don't know what to make of this either. Have you heard from the communication boys yet? Well, let's hope they turn up with something.
Major, excuse me.
Hold on a second. Yes?
It's Mr. Wakeman of the Chronicle. He insists upon seeing you.
He does? Where is he?
I told him to wait in the lobby.
Good. Hello? And it's our friend from the press is here. Don't worry, I wouldn't dare let anyone in on anything. At least not till we get something concrete. Right. All right, I'll see you later. Well, I guess I'd better see this newspaper man. Want to come along, Doctor?
I think I will.
Oh, hello. Remember me?
Certainly, yes.
A nice lot of gadgets you got here.
We think so.
What's on your mind?
Well, I was wondering if you might let me take a couple of pictures of that suit you brought up here.
I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Oh. Well, now look, I got a wonderful picture of the guy running in the shack, and the lieutenant stuck his nose in my business, and what do I get? A blank.
Is that you, Doctor?
Well, you must have some lead on this guy, otherwise you wouldn't have brought that suit up here.
Well, let's just say we were curious.
Hello, Bill. My breakfast soon?
Isn't Barbara through?
I don't know. If she's still in the lab, why don't you go up and see?
Thanks, I will.
Barbara? Barbara, are you in there?
Bill, listen to me. I'm not alone. Someone is in here with me. I can't see him. He locked the door and has the key.
I'll break the door down.
No, Bill, don't, please. You better get help.
You mean I'd come all the way up here for nothing?
I'm afraid so. Good night. Yes. Good night, Mr. Wakeman.
Good night. Major, come quick.
What's the matter? What's the matter? Where's Barbara?
In the lab. The door's locked and there's someone in there with her.
I thought you said the door was locked.
It was. She's gone.
Oh, cover the main entrance. That's the only way anybody could leave.
I will.
Well, in that case, we would have seen her on her way up. Well, then she must still be in the building. We'd better split up. I'll take the roof.
Barbara! 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 Where are you? Barbara!
Not yet. She must be around here someplace. Now, you stay here. Watch the main entrance. And I'll check the basement. All right.
Larry!
From the exotic geisha houses of Tokyo to the back alleys of the Ginza Strip comes the terrifying news of a fiendish creature that threatens to destroy all who stand in his way. This is the frightening story of an American reporter in Tokyo who unwittingly became the victim of a shocking scientific experiment that turned him into a horrible mutant, half man, half monster, the Manster.
What happened?
He got away.
I think I know where he's going, to Taras. Follow me.
Right. There's panic in the streets as the unheard of terror of a half man, half monster runs wild through the city.
There he goes!
Don't miss The Manster, a genuine thriller in the most frightening sense of the word.
As we return to Phantom from Space, our government boys are searching for Barbara, who has been kidnapped by our invisible alien invader.
She's not up there. Where's
the doctor? He went down to the basement. Here he comes. You didn't find her?
No. I'd better call the police.
But there's no telling what could happen to her in the meantime.
Now, take it easy. We're doing the best we can.
But she said she was locked in, and she couldn't see who did it. Can you explain that?
No. Not yet.
Much left in the tank. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'll write it down. One, 2.
This is amazing.
Now, quiet down, Venus. Quiet down. Down.
Mobile Center for Mobile 1, come in, please.
This is Mobile Center. Go ahead.
Get hold of Major Andrews or Dr. Wyatt at the Institute. I want to talk to either one of them.
I will do. Stand by, Mobile 1.
Dr. Wyatt speaking. Oh, yes, Mr. Hazen. Yes, we're still at it. Lots and lots of excitement, but nothing definite yet. Have you anything to say?
The trouble seems to be just about gone. We get a flash in the direction of the observatory once in a while, but I figure that's because of the outfit you're testing.
Yes. Lieutenant Bowers ought to be here any minute. Of course. How long will it take you to get up here? Good. See you then. Thank you, gentlemen. Put it down here, please. Barbara, putting that cord in over there. Now you're going to see... I have to resort to ultraviolet light in order to show you what little there is left of the spacesuit. As you can see, it has reduced itself to this liquid and it is in an evaporating stage. The helmet is in the lab and still intact.
This is amazing. All the radiation in this suit would be fatal to a normal human being wearing it.
Of course. And furthermore, our respiratory system could never simulate gases such as we have found in that breathing device.
Well, then we have to assume our so-called X-Man carried his own atmosphere with him.
Excuse me. But as a matter of curiosity, why do we refer to this thing as a him? I thought it was invisible.
Under normal conditions, yes. Yet, Mrs. Randall did see the imprint of a large foot and a masculine hand under ultraviolet light.
How do you explain that?
I don't know, but the human body is composed of various elements with a carbon base, like coal. Yes. Now, suppose we maintain the same chemical composition in the body of the X-Man, but substitute silica for carbon.
Silica, that's glass.
Exactly. Now, it is possible that the body with such a base, if it were subjected to an atmosphere foreign to its origin, might appear invisible to our eyes.
Are you trying to say, Doctor, that we're not dealing with a human being?
I didn't say that. On the contrary, all the evidence points in the opposite direction. Toward a superhuman, with an intelligence far superior to our own.
How can you tell?
First of all, Mrs. Randall saw that he has a hand with digits like our own fingers and a thumb opposing. That alone is a sign of intelligence. And he comes from a civilization that has developed adequate space transportation to enable him to travel to Earth. We have nothing yet that can reach even another planet in our own solar system.
That could account for the unidentified objects picked up by radar a few hours ago.
My theory is that the spaceship, or whatever it was that he came in, operated on the principle of magnetic rather than atomic propulsion, and that somewhere in the outer limits met with a condition where the Earth's gravity pulled it down and it fell into the ocean, and that he managed to save his life and reach shore.
You really can pick up any type of communications interference, no matter how weak the signal may be.
Sure thing. We were on his trail from the minute he left the beach.
I never knew you carried such sensitive instruments in your car.
What you told us is very interesting, Doctor. But I've got to make an official report to headquarters. Are you willing to be quoted that the criminal we're after is a creature from another world?
All I can say is, we know that our Earth is not the only planet capable of sustaining life in one form or another. You can quote that.
All I've got to go by is some footprints in a hand. That isn't much. No fingerprints, no description, no nothing. And we're after a killer.
Has it occurred to you that our X-Man has no apparent motivation for his acts, and might therefore not be an intentional criminal at all?
You have a point there.
Hey, wait a minute. Come to think of it, the young boarder we suspected, he did say that the girl's husband threw the first punch. So?
So that could have been enough to provoke the strange creature. And the same could have happened at the second murder.
Sure. But what about the fire in the oil fields?
Evidently, our man sensed the presence of some gases, which he thought might be utilized in his breathing apparatus.
Yeah, that could account for his presence at the oil refineries, where something went wrong, causing the explosion.
Or he could be an interstellar invisible nudist pyromaniac come to Earth to kidnap our women and play with our scissors. It's all just speculation at this point.
Horrors of Spider Island. 8 beautiful girls and 1 lone man struggling for survival, with death, sudden, violent, and horrible, lurking in the shadows. Horrors of Spider Island.
the night came a fate worse than death. A man's mind twisted, his brain poisoned, with an uncontrollable lust to kill.
Horrors of Spider Island.
A tale of terror that will leave you limp. So hideous and shocking, you won't believe your eyes. His hunger for victims was never satisfied. Prepare to be frightened out of your wits by the
Horrors of Spider Island.
Bound by no earthly law, possessing weird and enormous powers, these strange teenagers from outer space invade the Earth and prepare to possess its women. Nothing can stop their deadly advance. Earthmen are no match for their superhuman powers. They blast the flesh off humans. A moment before, she was a beautiful young girl. Now, she's a skeleton.
Too bad he got wise to us and took off his uniform, or we'd have been able to catch up with him by now.
No, he didn't utter a word. But I'm convinced he was trying to convey a message to me. He kept tapping out a code. I wrote it down.
Let me see that, please. Doesn't make sense.
Well, it may be based on some mathematical system we know nothing about.
But he was trying to tell us something. Why did he run away?
What do you think of that?
Hell, Hazen must be crazy sending out stuff like that.
I guess so. Why don't you try and get a hold of him?
Yeah. Mobile 1 from Mobile Center. Come in, please. Mobile 1 from Mobile Center. Come in, please. Mobile 1 from Mobile Center. Come in, please.
Hey, that's Central calling. You better stay here by the car. I'll go tell Hazen.
Yes, Colonel Powell. Of course, I'll mail you a complete report first thing in the morning. Yes, sir, thank you. Oh, and I'm awfully sorry to disturb you so late at night. Right, good night, sir.
He's around here, this invisible guy. He was in the car.
How do you know?
I was talking to Randall outside when I heard Central calling. Before I could get over to answer, I saw the door open and shut by itself. He's desperate.
For all we know, he could be trying to send a distress signal to his home base, wherever that is.
Oh, let's hope he doesn't get through. We've got enough problems with just one of those guys.
Well, at least we know he's around in the vicinity, and it's obvious what keeps him around.
Of course. He's got to come back for what little gas there is left in his helmet.
And when he does...
Oh, please, the most important thing is to take him alive. If we can only make each other understand, there's no telling how much science can profit.
I'll go along with that, Doctor. But I've got to make sure that once he's cornered, I'll be able to hang on to him.
I think we're all agreed on that.
All right, good. Then we must see it from his angle. He's in an alien world. No doubt we are as frightening to him as he is to us. Now, the most important thing, then, is to keep calm at all costs and do nothing to provoke him.
Immediately, a simple plan to trap the Phantom went into operation. All obstacles to his entry were removed. To erase any possible suspicion, the doors were left unguarded. and inconspicuous electric eye equipment was set up. All this was connected to a makeshift control board, which would immediately signal the exact location of the trespasser. Now, there was nothing to do but wait. The one road leading to the Institute was blocked off to make certain no outsider would upset the plans or interfere in any way.
What's the big idea?
Sorry, nobody's allowed through here.
Who said so?
Lieutenant Bauer's orders.
Oh, is he up there?
He might be.
Well, you get word to him that Joe Wakeman of the Chronicle is here.
Sorry, bud, I can't leave.
Oh, what about them over there? Hey, you over there.
Me?
Yeah. Aren't you the guy from the communications outfit? Didn't I see you down at the oil fields a couple hours ago?
What of it?
You got anything to do with this?
Well, you'll have to ask Lieutenant Bowers about that.
How can I if he won't see me?
That's a good question.
Well, it's 3:45.
Sure taking his time.
Time is cheap.
Yeah, well, how long can you sit on the edge of your chair like this?
Oh, dear, if we have to. I only hope this mechanism works.
It will, unless he flies in between the wires.
I wouldn't take any bets that he can't.
Well, if everything else fails, we still have Venus here to help us. You know, I'm certain she sensed his presence before. That's why she carried on so.
What's the matter, Lieutenant? Is this thing getting you?
Oh, no. I'm just thinking about public reaction to all this. I'll give something to the press by morning.
You know, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot. Then after I got my wings and had had 75 missions, I thought I'd seen everything. Now, after all this, I know I haven't seen anything.
He's here.
The back end. Let's cut him off.
No, take it easy. Don't panic.
Trying to do? Well, it's the reporter. Yeah, it sure is. What's going on around here? You guys crazy?
How'd you get in here?
Oh, that don't make any difference. Come on, what's up? What's going on?
Lieutenant, you better tell him. I'll reset the wires.
Don't be afraid. We want you to live. Don't you understand? Can't you speak? Can't you say something in anything, in any language?
Can't you whistle, hum, make rude noises with your armpits, something? No? Just the tapping, huh? Yeah, poor guy. Invisible, misunderstood.
Why do we refer to this thing as a him? I thought it was invisible.
Hey, that's a good point. Now, it could be a she.
Mrs. Randall did see the imprint of a large foot and a masculine hand.
Okay, then it's a big she. A big alien gal out there in the big galaxy just trying to make it on her own. Kind of like a big, hulking, invisible alien Mary Tyler Moore. You know, I think I need to see a doctor.
Daughter of Horror. Here is tense, taut, chilled-filled drama that shocks you with hair-raising horror. Not one word is spoken on the screen. The strangest motion picture you have ever seen. Daughter of Horror.
And now, on to the conclusion of Phantom from Space. And then on to the cranial cavity search. And then on, and on, and on, and on.
Listen, everybody. He's in the lab with me now. He's in the lab with me now. Venus, be quiet. The door's unlocked. Hurry, he's having trouble breathing. I don't think he can last much longer. And please, don't let Venus get at him. And walk in quietly.
Quiet, Venus.
It's unbelievable.
See, there's nothing to be afraid of. Nobody wants to hurt you.
I've tried to reason with him. I feel he understands, but he can't speak.
Wait a minute, I'll try his code. I think I remember it right. Better plug in the ultraviolet light. You scared him. Look, there goes Venus.
Take this. I'm going after you.
The door. In here with a big telescope.
Close the dome. The switch is over there.
Quiet, Venus.
in here, he'll never get out now.
Door was closed. This is what I've been waiting for. Please, Lieutenant. This is our last chance. We have to take him alive.
Plug in the lamps. There's an outlet here.
He must be up there!
If I hadn't seen this with my own eyes.
What do we do now?
Stand back.
Amazing. There's code again. Look. He's trying to speak, but no sound is coming out of his mouth.
Look at Venus. She acts as though she hears him.
Yes. Dog can hear sounds that we can. His voice must be beyond the range of the human ear. Maybe he's screaming.
He's suffocating. The flower, it's almost gone.
We won't need these lights anymore. In death, he has become visible as a normal body.
Assume the position and open your minds wide. It's time for your cranial cavity search. Yes, my lords and ladies, the cranial cavity search. Here's a chance for you great geeks out there to prove your geek cred by showing what you know. And tonight's cranial cavity search question is, in the groundbreaking 1951 science fiction classic, The Day the Earth Stood Still, an alien comes to Earth to warn we humans about the dangerous course our society was taking. The alien's name was Klaatu. But what name did he take while hiding out amongst us humans? A. Mr. Wolf. B. Mr. Hunter. C. Mr. Warner. Or D. Mr. Carpenter. Ha ha! What name did Klaatu take while here on Earth? We'll find out after these unearthly interruptions. And the answer to tonight's cranial cavity search question. What was the name Klaatu used while on Earth in the classic film The Day the Earth Stood Still? It was D. Mr. Carpenter. Ah yes, my lords and ladies, Mr. Carpenter. The director of the film, Robert Wise, chose that name to reinforce the Christian allegory in the plot. Now, I don't want to get too into spoilers in case you haven't seen the original, The Day the Earth Stood Still, but you must see it. It is a true science fiction classic. But now, my lords and ladies, as always, a short film for me means a big surprise for you. And, you know, I was thinking, the alien in tonight's film depended on his helmet for survival. And I was also thinking that a lot of people place a lot of importance on their hair and the style that they wear it in. But what I was mostly thinking was, I need a short film to fill out the time for this week's episode. So, without any particular thought in mind, here is Hairdress Through the Ages.
Well, here we are back in a cave on the banks of the Dordogne River in France, thousands of years ago. And there's plenty of hair, as you can see, on the gentleman, but no hat and no hairdo to speak of. That hair is really interfering with his business. Nearby, the cave woman, his wife, is grilling a fish over an open fire. Now, the caveman is very plainly bothered by that hair that is growing so plentifully on his head in all directions. Suddenly, he looks over toward the fireplace and he sees the surviving backbone of a fish that has been eaten. And it gives him an idea. Now, I don't say that we have proof that this happened, but it could have happened, and some such original discovery must have been made. Now, see what he does with the backbone of that fish. Puts up his hair as best he can and uses the backbone, or part of it, as a side comb to hold it in place. Let's imagine, at least, that that was the first hairdo. Now we slip forward a few thousand years to the time of the Babylonians in the Near East. See what kind of hairdos they had. Well, they not only curled their hair, but they curled their beards, too. It was a religious rite with them. Now we go over to the land of the Egyptians about 2,500 years BC, and notice a change. They shaved their heads completely, and they shaved their beards too. But they wore an artificial beard made out of wood or horn or some such material. And the women, too, shaved their heads and wore wigs. Now, of course, we're talking about the aristocracy, the noble people and the rulers of those days, not the poor people. And here's an Egyptian woman with the kind of imitation hair or wig that was worn by the high-born ladies of those days. Another thing about the Egyptian women of those days was that the higher the headdress they wore, the more noble their blood was supposed to be. So you can see there was quite some competition among the ladies in a vertical way. Really getting high in some of these. Another peculiar thing was that when the princesses or queens acted in an official way, they too wore an imitation beard on their chins. Now we're coming forward to the Grecian days. And of course we know all about these from drawings and paintings of the old days and written descriptions. And many of these pieces, by the way, are actual survivals of those periods and have been preserved in antique shops and in museums. This is the Greek style of hairdo. At all ages, a scarf was often used as a covering for the hair, with or without a hat on top of that. Now we're coming forward to the Roman days. There is a Roman painting, and a peculiar place for it. It's on the bald sconce of a Roman. And here we have one of the Roman ladies of the court of Augustus Caesar, and this is the kind of wig that she wore. Very dark wig. Now she sees her handmaiden there with a very blonde head of hair and plentiful, and she decides to change her mind and get a blonde wig. Whereupon the poor handmaiden has her hair cut off and made into a wig for the patrician Roman lady. Here we see her now with a blonde wig. Well, we'll step forward about 1,000 years into the beginning of the medieval period. And this is the way the high-born young lady wore her hair then, in long ringlets, when knighthood was in flower. Of course, when she got married, she wasn't allowed any such frivolous decoration. Had to put her hair up in braids that were covered like this. Of course, the braids may not be quite as long as the covering would indicate. Just a little added decoration. Just another example of the scarf wrap around. This young lady does not have a toothache or an earache. She is just increasing the wrapping around her hair on her head, and it gradually got to an exaggerated fashion. More and more of the face and hair were concealed until we got to this type, which became popular in Brittany, in France, hundreds of years ago. And then we had also in medieval days a sort of dunce cap idea. And once an idea was formed, why, they carried it out to the extreme. So here we have the double dunce cap, and even further the triple and quadruple dunce cap idea. And of course, further decorations were added. This is a millinery display of the medieval period. Now we come to what I call the antler type of hat. Looks something like the spread of antlers of a water buffalo or some African gazelle. This might be the ox type of decoration. This was popular, by the way, in England Oh, about the time of Ivanhoe and Richard the Lionhearted. Only for high-born ladies, of course. And then, of course, the men weren't going to be completely left out of the picture. Here's a gentleman with a tall vertical hat. And just in case of a change in the weather, notice that he has a different type of hat slung over his back. Well, we're coming down through the ages a little bit, but not making much progress in the millinery department. This chap has a whole counter's worth of cloth on his head. Now, this is on the neat side, but that hairnet is studded with precious jewels. In this case, it's the first cost and not the upkeep. Here we have what is often called a Holbein type of hat, because that famous painter gave us many canvases with models wearing that kind of picture hat. But Franz Hals and other famous painters also gave us their studio portraits with the same type of millinery decoration. Here's quite a different type. The hat is small, but the beard more than makes up for it. Now, this is really neat. I say I'm no judge of ladies' hats, but this is the type I like anyhow. It'll be good in a high wind. Notice that the ruff is now coming in around the neck there. That would be around 1550, 1600 and through there. Just imagine all the handwork that went into the ironing of a ruff of that type. Many of the pictures by Van Dyck feature these ruffs. Here we're going into the vertical decoration again. You notice how it switches from the horizontal to the vertical and back again. High, low. Oh, and also we are coming into the corseted era, and in some of those old days they actually wore iron corsets. Of course, the whaling captors soon relieved the iron of its duty by bringing in the whalebone. This is just a simple country costume. I'm glad to say they've relaxed on that iron stuff. And here we have a lace bodice and a straw hat. Now we're coming into the 17th and 18th centuries. This is a model of a painting by Van Dyck. And so I haven't time to go on down to modern days, but as far as we've gone, I leave it up to you to know whether or not we've made much progress in hairdos and costumes and hats.
Have we made much progress in hairdos and costumes and hats? Does it matter? Not really. Don't even know why I asked. Well, my lords and ladies, I want to thank you all for watching, and I want to invite you all back again next week when we'll do whatever this is all over again. Ha ha! As always, I am Lord Blood-Rah saying, geek out.